The Cheating Death Podcast is a comedy podcast and a random podcast that contains information, subject matter, language, and coarse material to which may not be suitable or appropriate for all listeners. So proceed if you dare. Your discretion is advised. On today's episode of the Cheating Death Podcast, we begin the saga of uncovering some of the most dark and disturbing truths that have ever occurred on our great blue sphere. Today, we analyze Operation Northwoods, the 1960s United States government conspiracy to create false flag attacks upon its own citizens. We also provide you with a brand new Annihilation Announcement, a joke of the episode, and a top 5 favorite shoe brand list. So grab yourself a coffee, a warm blanket, put your feet up, and let us tell you how you can cheat death. This is your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this is your Annihilation Announcement. Over 63 years since the first proposal of Operation Northwoods hit the table from which it was written, we stand as a civilization more gullible and more susceptible to misinformation than ever. All it takes is a Twitter account generated by someone in Europe spreading lies about people in North America for people to immediately flock over to that site, that individual, that source, and to believe that information because it looks and sounds legitimate. No. Journalism is about finding the truth. Life is about doing the best you can to get through it as clean, as uninjured, and as destruction-free as possible. We, as denizens of Earthrealm, have made many a mistake, and now it is time for us to own up to our pasts. Use this technological communication to find what it is that we all seek. Solace, tranquility, truth. This has been your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this was your Annihilation Announcement. Willkommen, meine Freunde. Guten Morgen, guten Tag, eine gute Nacht ist deine Reisende, deine Ausländer, deine Cleric of Chaos. Within the domicile of the mind dwells many a possibility, many a thought, many an idea. Some of them good, some of them bad, some of them in between, but almost none of them compare to the very notion, to the idea, and or the mere brain movement that would cause one to think that an idea planning an attack upon multiple cities within their own country against their own citizens is a great idea. Listeners of the podcast, today we begin a saga within the Cheating Death Podcast, not only incorporating comedy, the Annihilation Announcement, and the joke of the episode, as well as the top 5 as we include regularly. Today, we begin diving into some of the absolutely awful, disgusting, disturbing, despicable, and downright unapologetic actions of various governments, federal agencies, international corporations, groups of wealthy, affluent men, and souls of pure sin against humanity. Today, we begin that trip by discussing Operation Northwoods. Imagine this. It is 1962, the ripe early month of January. You are a United States Senator working within the federal government, and you are absolutely aghast at how resistant, how resilient Cuba has become, how formidable of an adversary that this government dare speak ill and dare work against the interests of the United States of America. Absolutely not. This will not be. So what happens throughout the year of 1962 that makes this situation significant? The 13th of March, 1962. A memorandum drops on the desk of an entity in the United States Department of Defense. The proposition: carry out attacks against citizens in cities like Miami, Florida, New York City, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and many more. The United States government, in conjunction with the Central Intelligence Agency, worked cohesively to formulate a proposition that would have involved the attacks, the murders, the destruction, the dissolution, the division, and the pure decay from within the country itself, all operated, all proposed, all enacted by members of the United States government, whether they be federal, whether they be state, whether they be part of the judicial branch or the executive branch. All of these scenarios were put into play by the Department of Defense and put on this table to propose the very destruction of national trust. For they believed in the 1960s that it was a simpler time, that one could merely go beyond the need for sheer thorough explanation and justify it as an act of patriotism, an act of security, much like the Manhattan Project had done years before it. The justification was there. Whether or not it was legitimate is another question. We take into account that memorandum that was put in place on the 13th of March, 1962, landing in the Department of Defense. And we see for ourselves just how easy it is for the people of the land to be manipulated, for the government to be able to come up with just about any excuse they could wish for in the book to justify a false flag incident. The United States government in 1962 was doing absolutely everything they possibly could to avoid the Bay of Pigs and to avoid the Cuban Missile Crisis, even if that meant sacrificing some of its own citizens for the greater good. This is not the Neighborhood Watch Alliance. This is not the crusty juggler. This was a situation that took place 63 years ago and was actually put across the desks of those in whom are responsible for the protection of the citizens of the United States. This was not the first time, nor would it be the final time, that the United States government, the CIA, the FBI, and the ATF would work together to create conspiracies in order to mask their own blame, in order to mask their own mistakes and their own responsibility. While no one supported David Koresh and the cult that he led, of course the Branch Davidians were all misguided individuals. And we're going to discuss that on a future episode. But take into account the damage control put forth by the ATF, by the FBI, and by those responsible, the reports that indicated that it was the fault of those within the compound. Meanwhile, journalists, investigative reporters were able to pinpoint quite quickly that that was not the case. Such as example with Operation Northwoods. It was not until 35 years later, in 1997, that it was reviewed by the Assassination Records Board and fully declassified. So for 35 years, the federal government was able to get away with this, and they were able to completely pull the wool over their citizens' eyes. In the name of America, we had to go to Washington, D.C., and we had to tell them the truth. That we needed to ensure our citizens were not aware of the plans that we had to put forth. A senator from Alabama was cited to have stated in the 1997 review, defending the actions of those in whom came long before. Understand, dear listeners, our goal here at the Cheating Death Podcast is not just to make you laugh. It is not just to inform you. It is not just to bring about new ideas. It is to bring you the objective truth. Not the truth according to the left, not the truth according to the right, but what actually took place. The event that you should and have every right to be aware of. There will never be a spin, a liberal or conservative spin, on any information that we present. We will only provide you with the straight facts. What is your most concerning aspect of the Operation Northwoods conspiracy? The declassified plan that revealed that it was not the first time the federal government was up to spooky shenanigans. Send us your feedback and your concerns about your favorite government declassified operation to the Cheating Death Podcast at gmail.com. At the top of the program, we promised you a list of our top 5 favorite shoe brands, so without further ado, let's jump right in. Coming in at number 5, we have PRX, an absolutely phenomenal casual and trainer brand. Coming in at number 4, we have the old reliable Nike. Coming in at number 3, we have Adidas. Coming in at number 2, we have Vans. And coming in at number 1, we have Puma. What is your top 5 favorite list? Email us at thecheatingdeathpodcast at gmail.com. Today's joke has been brought to you by the Cleric of Chaos. 2 men are out fishing on the water. One starts to discuss the story of a 500-foot-long tuna, to which the other fisherman looks at him in complete disgust and disarray and states to his friend, "Man, why are you trying to lie to me? That's just a conspiracy." The fact that Operation Northwoods was even allowed to leave the mind of the first person to have conceived of the idea in order to be brought before a panel of individuals in whom were supposed to be responsible for the lives of hundreds of millions is absolutely astounding. Regardless of whether or not it took place 63 years ago, it is indifferent and completely irrelevant to the overall reality that it happened. It does not matter whether we feel one way or not. Understand that Operation Northwoods of 1962 was a mere benchmark, was a mere blueprint for what has transpired over the course of the past 63 years. Both the American government, the Canadian government, provincial governments, and state governments, and anywhere in between, have been rife with being caught in scandals and being dubious and betraying their people. We must not accept anything more than lies and deception from government powers. And we must learn to move forward and figure life out for ourselves. Take care of yourselves and each other. The Cheating Death Podcast has been brought to you by Nacht and Leben, CRDVC, Chaos Realm Records, CR Deutschland, Apple, Google, Spotify podcasts, and of course where all major podcasts may be found. If you'd like to support the program, you may do so at the links in the episode description below. If you would like to support the friends, personnel, and or consultants of the program, you may also follow their links for their social media in the description as well. If you or anyone else you know is experiencing psychiatric duress, please refer to the information in the episode description or call 1-800-273-8255 or dial 988 from your mobile phone in the United States or Canada. If you're experiencing domestic violence, please call 1-800-799-7233. And if you're looking at adopting a playful puppy or cute kitten, please visit your local animal adoption rescue center. Remember, life is never going to be explainable or identifiable within a 24-hour or a 3,600-second period. Take time, write it down, focus, relax. And remember, we're pulling for you. We're all in this together.